Hey everyone, it's Compass. I'm going to go ahead and make this my video on how to install or how to set up VoiceAttack. So you can go to voiceattack.com and get the software. There is a demo version. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate how to install the mod, or not to install the VoiceAttack profile. So let me add a window capture for this. This can be VoiceAttack, hopefully. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do monitor capture. There we go. There we go. So we have the game in the background running. Um, well, close enough. It's the game running in the background, and you can see that all my voice is not being recognized. So there's a few download files. There's the default one. Let me stop this from listening. There's a default one, and there's a default one for the demo, and then there's one that's more complicated, which you can use with a full version that uses multiple profiles. So we're going to go ahead and just install the demo first. The demo one is, I think, just 20 commands. It's called Lightweight. So what you do is, you can see there's nothing in this profile. By default, I think it says My Profile in the trial version. All you have to do is go to Import. I think should be able to, well, in the trial, you can't create more than one profile. So you go here and you Import Commands. Find your files. I think mine are called Lightweight Commands. I think there's 20 of them. You hit Import. And then it goes ahead and sets all those. These are all the basic ones that most ships can use, which is just movement and damage control and turning on and off secondaries. So once you do that, that's ready to go. I don't have, obviously, AP or HE or torpedo as my carrier, but I should be able to use all these. So as soon as you hit done, you can turn it on, and it says listening resumed. You want to target it towards World of Warships. And here we go. Full speed ahead. You can see it instantly heard that. You can switch over back to the window and see it's recognized that, and all the stuff that you say that isn't part of it, we'll just go ahead and say unrecognized, freaking out, can't find anything. Stop engine. And you can see it just switched back to the game and stopped the engine for me. That's the basic way to install the lightweight engine. Let me show you. If you want to change it to like all ahead full, for example, all you do is go to the profile, let's say full speed ahead. We're going to change that to all ahead full and hit OK. So you can see here, these are all the binds. If you don't know how to get all ahead full or full speed ahead, basically it's just tapping W 5 times forwards by default. Because you could be going backwards and then you just want to go 5 forwards to get the maximum. So if you're at like 3/4, it'll just go full speed ahead and 4 extra button presses, but it shouldn't affect how it works. So we're going to switch it to all ahead full, hit OK, hit done. All ahead full. Oops, wrong application. All ahead full. Stop engine. And that's basically how you switch between them. If you want to change like stop engines, let me stop this listening. It's kind of hard to do that. If you want to change the stop engine, for example, all you do is go here, you do a key press. In this case, going in full reverse 5 times and then going forwards once will always get you to stop. So you can just spam S like 60,000 times, press W once if you're using just using your keyboard. So this one will just always try to go full reverse and then just go 1 forward to the stop. And that's all in ship movement. Other stuff like batteries, it's just toggle. All of these are just simple say something and it'll do the key actions for you. Unfortunately, I can't fit the carrier stuff into the 20 command limit. This is 70 commands as it is, so it's pretty difficult to get everything in there. But if you buy the full version, which is only $8, if you try this and you really enjoy it and you think the full version is worth your $8, you can just go ahead and buy it. So I went ahead and purchased it pretty quickly. This is the default profile blank. Let's say you bought the full version. You can go ahead and do import profiles. I'm not sure if you can actually do multiple. Okay, so we're going to import all, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 profiles. So the first one is standard commands. Standard commands is all those lightweight commands put in here, and there's additional ones for the UI that I added in, like camera, cancel cursor mode, and cursor mode. So cursor mode is, let me demonstrate, is just using holding down the control button for you, so you can use your mouse. Well, you can't really use it in this one, but it would hold down control so you could actually click on squadrons. I noticed that in my original setup, there was no way to, prioritize a target with secondaries or AA. So it'll allow you to get the, well, in this case, it just disables it. But, oh, here we go. Cursor mode. It'll hold control for you, and then you can, wave your mouse around, scroll and chat, click on a target. Cancel cursor mode. Cancel cursor mode. Sometimes it doesn't detect it perfectly. Oh, it's because I kept saying the sentence. But basically, that's one of the new things you can get in there. There's locking a target, there's map, priority target, and then you can also track your shells when you fire by saying track. The next thing you have to import is direct combat. And if you look at the direct combat profile, these are all the loading stuff from before. So I actually figure out a way to make it so it takes HE and AP, but by default I just have it so that the base commands are load armor piercing and ready armor piercing and load high explosive. But you can say load HE and load AP. If you say it slowly enough, it'll work. I also had add sound effects, but you don't have to worry about those. It works fine without sounds, but on my version, it'll try and say those things. But in this case, we don't have anything on our carrier with guns. We just have secondaries, so we don't have to worry about this. The one thing you have to do, though, for direct combat is you can go to the options here, include commands from another profile, and you want to include standard commands, because this is how we get it so that we can share all the standard commands between the carriers, the cruisers, the destroyers, and the battleships. So we're going to go ahead and say that standard commands are used in direct combat. So that's it for the universal ones. Then we have to import harbor mode. Harbor mode is the default profile. It doesn't have a lot of commands, but it allows you to switch between all the modes. So you can say battleship mode, carrier mode, cruiser mode, all that, and it'll switch to that dedicated profile. The other two things that are added are stop and start listening. So when you say stop listening, it'll basically stop taking input, start listening, the same thing. And you can access this mode from pretty much any other mode. You can switch over to the harbor mode and just have these commands and not worry about accidentally, trying to press double tap 2, for example, by accident because your commands are misinterpreted. So in this case, harbor mode's fine. You do have to do for standard commands, this one references the harbor mode. So go over here, harbor mode, hit OK, hit done. That's it for that. And the remaining profiles we have to import are just each individual ship type. And it's actually not that many commands. So battleship mode, carrier mode, cruiser mode, and destroyer mode. So destroyer mode, just defensive fire for when the AA change comes out for the US destroyers. There's flank speed, which activates your engine boost. You can change the engine boost if you want, but I just want to use flank speed because it's fun. And then there's smoke. These are all just class dependent. It's a little easier than having multiple because I think cruisers and battleships have them mixed up so that they don't always line up. So this one can use direct combat for destroyer mode. Destroyers, cruisers, and battleships use direct combat for their referenced profiles. So these will all get their little gunfire things. Battleship mode also uses direct combat. You can just go into these profiles. They're really short, just the battleship specific commands, and everything is mostly in direct combat. And then the carrier is the only one that has a unique one where it uses just the navigation ones. So everything from standard commands and not direct combat. So once that's done, you can go into carrier mode. Carrier mode is probably the most complex because you have to call all the groups, calling all torpedo bombers. You will have to edit this yourself if you decide to use the carrier mode. So the custom commands I have are like calling all dive bombers, fighters, and torpedo bombers. In this case, I have a Hiryu with a 222 setup. So basically, I manually select which keys, 4 and 5 are my torpedo bombers, and manually macro them. You can copy this example or you can change it how you want. That's fine. This is all just if you want to customize your ability to call a full set of aircraft of the same type. There's also a new command actually added in the recent one. I hope it's still in here. All these, we have like the then command, which allows you to chain stuff. But I decide that for movement for aircraft, if you look at the map, you'd have to like queue up like all these waypoints, and saying then and each individual thing took forever. So as a result, I actually went to the standard commands, and I believe it's in here, set waypoint. So you can set waypoint with aircraft as well. That's why it's in there. You can set waypoint with your ships. You can set waypoints with your planes, and all it does is it holds shift and clicks the map, so it'll queue additional movements. So we can go ahead and switch over to the carrier or harbor mode and demonstrate how to just get in between everything. So by default, you'll be in harbor mode. It should be listening. You should make sure it's switched to World of Warships, not any wrong windows. To switch between the two types, you just say stop listening, and it would just stop listening to your commands. You can say, like full speed ahead, nothing will happen. Let me stop the ship. As soon as you say start listening, it should activate. So start listening. And then what you want to do is specify which ship you're going to, or harbor mode if you don't want anything specific, or if you want to just disable it. You can do stop listening from any of the modes as well. So this just works with everything. So we're going to go ahead and switch to carrier mode. Carrier mode.
Switching to carrier mode.
I didn't switch to it. That's weird. Technical difficulties. Oh. You might have to rebind it. It looks like it didn't work properly, so you just go into each one and switch to carrier mode, delete. I think this is just from having to import it, but basically this is the only one that you have to change. So you don't have to worry about anything freaking out. Cruiser mode, delete, other, switch to another profile, cruiser mode, pretty easy stuff. The harbor mode, I think the only problem is that you have to go to another one to switch to it. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do this. Destroyer mode. I like to
Switching to destroyer mode.
Oh wow, it's still listening. Stop listening. So you might have to do this. I actually didn't import my stuff back in. So battleship mode is good. Harbor mode is the only one that was not. So let me duplicate that to copy to battleship mode and delete this. Switch over to battleship mode. Edit the command. Harbor mode should just switch to other. Switch to harbor mode. You can't do this from its own for some reason, but you can move it back over. So you hit OK. Copy to harbor mode, and then you can delete this. And hopefully it'll work properly now. There's a little extra setup. Should be in there. Okay, change to the profile. Do I want to make it perfectly say it like that? Okay. And then we should be ready to go. Let's see. Carrier mode.
Switching to carrier mode.
Calling all aircraft. So calling all aircraft actually goes 2, shift, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 0. So that's actually a lot faster than a human can do it, which is really cool. It always sounds cool when you do that. And you basically all you have to do is test it out. You can probably do it in a training room. You can do it with an Erie. The easiest ones to test out are typically with the gunships. Carrier. Carrier. One thing that's important is that you have to, leave an actual pause between your statements, or else it might try to put it into a giant sentence. Camera. Like, see that? I have to say and wait. Camera. Full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead.
I do have a sound effects link to it, just to make sure that some things occur. You can easily change these yourself as needed in the options. It is another option. You can just add your own sounds to the folder, and then it works properly. Hard to port.
Left rudder.
Stuff like that. It's just a little easier to, hear that your commands are being confirmed on some of the slower ships. Calling all dive bombers. Return.
Standing by for instructions. Over. Group 6. Return.
Map.
Group 7. Returning to ship.
Calling all fighters. Move. Set waypoint. Map. Set waypoint. I'm not quite sure what's causing this one, but this one's the only issue is that the set waypoint tends to switch back to your camera. Map. Map. Set waypoint. Calling all torpedo bombers. Blah. Map.
Group 6, ready for takeoff.
Move. Set waypoint. Manual. Map. Then. Calling all dive bombers.
Group 5, returning to ship. Group 4, returning.
Cancel manual. You might have to just fiddle around. There should be enough cancel buttons, stuff like that. If you find weird stuff happening. Typically, though, if you're using the carrier thing, it's probably best to have at least the mouse free. It's easier to override your abilities like that. So if you actually want to manual, or cancel manual, you just click instead of same move. That'll take you like 2 seconds. Calling all dive bombers. Attack. The carrier one is just probably the hardest one to make because just so many commands. Anyways, that's all you need to do to set up, and once you're done, you can just switch between all the modes just by saying it. So, destroyer mode,
Switching to destroyer mode.
harbor mode,
Switching to harbor mode.
stop listening, and then that's it. That really not that painful of a setup. I mean, it's a little complicated to begin with, but once you're done, if you want to make something that affects all ships, you can go to standard commands and edit it and add in here. Really flexible to change. All these things here on the actions might have little extra sound effects, but all you have to do is go in here, like edit these macros, and that's it. They're not like complicated things like maintain course. Is just tap A and D to just go straight and not accidentally overshoot. Stuff like that is really what puts together the profile. And if you want to change what it says, the only thing you have to do is like steady as she goes, for example. You just type it in there, and that's it. You hit OK, and it recognizes it. As long as your I don't know, your voice recognizer works, it should work just fine, and you should be able to immediately test this. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial on how to set it up. The download link, I guess I'll also put into this video, but you can always find the most up-to-date release in the mods and add-ons forum in World of Warships North America forum. The only thing you really need to test this out is just the trial version of Voice Attack from voiceattack.com. And if you want, you can buy the full version to get the full profile for, I think, $8 using PayPal. That's pretty cheap, and this is really, really good software. It's relatively accurate, easy to use. I'd say it's a pretty big steal for an $8 virtual controller. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you guys next time. I probably will do some more, I don't know, gameplay with this. But mostly this is for people, with disabilities and or who may not be comfortable with, keyboard controls or controlling a large number of aircraft. So if you know any of those people, please, feel free to pass it on. Maybe they'll be able to play World of Warships with this. It's just, something that it's a side project. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's the easiest way to test it is just to have them take a spin and see how it works. Who knows? I mean, maybe like we could actually hold a tournament with people just spewing out commands, for example. It's just an interesting, alternative way for some players or an assist tool for others. So, anyways, that's it. We'll see you guys next time.